Hello guys. So I don't even know how to start explaining this video. I apologize for the zero in-game sound and for the zero background sound. The problem is I had this entire video completely finished and done. And after everything was said and done, I finally decided to check the video, to check for the timestamps, how I'm supposed to divide it on YouTube. And that is when I realized that I had the in-game sound way too loud and the microphone sound way too low. I basically flipped the settings by mistake. I am feeling a bit under the weather, so hopefully you will forgive me that. So what you are seeing now is the original video, completely finished, with the voice muted, and I'm just going to do a voiceover. And trying not to, if I go quiet for a few seconds or something while I am waiting for the scene to change, or for the cursor to finally move on, please forgive me. I really don't have the energy to do everything from scratch again today. But yeah, hopefully I will be able to provide some normal commentary that won't feel too clunky. So yeah, this is my build, my Demonform showcase. There is a second showcase waiting for you guys at the end. As you will see, I am taking this map relatively slowly. It's a really dangerous map. Full 6 mods on a tier 15 waste zone with 3 tablets slotted in. So when you will see the gear, when you will see the skill gems, you will kind of get the idea that this is not an optimized build. It's really not finished. It's really not that strong yet. But I just decided I want to showcase how much survivability, how strong it can actually be even on this setup. For starters, I am going to quickly scroll over the items so you guys can see what I was using. Please keep in mind the focus that is in the inventory, so the worse focus, is what I was actually using in both of my showcases. But I did drop that divine that you will see in the second showcase, which then allowed me to get a way better focus, which is the one I have equipped now. But this is the focus that I was actually using for both of the showcases, so my gear was even worse than you see right now. But yeah, as I said, this is a very dangerous map, so if you will see me kind of taking my time and not rushing too much, it's because of that reason. So this is a Bone Cage triple charge Demonform build. You guys have most of the progress in my live VODs on YouTube if you want to check it out. I also did a video before this one just explaining how I got the build from level 1 to tier 15 maps. But yeah, that's basically it. As for the charges, I should probably point out I'm mostly just relying on frenzy and endurance charges, not so much on power charges. There is the option of using profane ritual, just weaving it in every now and then to also get those power charges. The build actually only relies on having endurance and frenzy charges, not really as a generate resources / spend resources mechanic, but just as a buff to the overall power of the character, just to get more survivability and more offensive power through the charges. Now the main skill of the build, and this is sort of a melee spellcaster, considering the prevalence of all the how do you call them? All the proximal tangibility in this league. It's nice to have a build that can actually, a spellcaster build that can actually go up against the mobs and engage them directly. And then we are using Detonate that to actually clear the map and clear mobs that are further away from us. But Bone Cage is also good enough, as most of the mobs just tend to run at you and get impaled on the spikes anyway. So we are generating okay, here I would just point out cooldown recovery is the only jewel I am currently using in Demonform, for a reason, because second wind does reduce your cooldown recovery. At the moment I am comfortably sitting at like 2-3 minutes Demonform uptime. So we have to morph a few times when we are doing a map. That is why I really don't like the reduced cooldown recovery, because it just gives you a lot more time where you have to like wait for the cooldown to come back. But yeah, the main point of the build is using Bone Cage. Bone Cage in and of itself already pins enemies, which means using charge regulation which I would like to point out, you do not care about the level of charge regulation. It can be a level 8 spell, level 8 spirit skill, because it doesn't do much for you if you increase the level. However, charge profusion, I think it's called, the second one, that one you want to have as high as possible. So the one that gives you bonuses based on your charges, that's the one that you want to have as high level as possible. And the one that gives you only frenzy charges, you can just keep at a low spirit gem level, that is level 8. So Bone Cage in and of itself is already pinning enemies, which is giving us the frenzy charges, and then we are also using Armor Break 3 to get the endurance charges, which gives us a lot of energy shield. It's also slotted in with Heft, with Rapid Casting, and with Spell Cascade. For the Rapid Casting, I would just like to point out I was trying different versions using Unleash to increase the spell cost of Bone Cage, which then of course gives you more procs of your Infernal Flame, which of course gives you a longer uptime on the Demonform. But if I'm being completely honest, this is the best setup, the most comfortable setup that I have come up with so far, even though 3 of the 4 gems are not don't have a cost multiplier. I'm going to be very honest, this is the best setup that I personally have come up with. Considering we are getting a lot of Infernal Flame procs from Spellslinger anyway, and we can kind of compensate for the lack of spell skill costs from Bone Cage, because Bone Cage really is hard to get. It's really hard to get the spell cost of the Bone Cage to be high. But we did a few tricks. Also, I have some open leeway there from the 3 levels that I can still get on Bone Cage, as it is a level 18 gem at the moment. But yeah, I'm currently level 88. Once I hit level 90, I am going to make sure that I get a level 21 Bone Cage, which is going to increase the Infernal Flame generation by a lot. Make it a lot better for us. Also, Detonate that will get increased by 3 levels at that point. So yeah. You will also notice basically all of my skill gems are level 18, and a lot of them are still missing quality. It's just, you know, I'm still farming, I'm still getting up there, I'm still trying to get the resources to optimize the build. So that is why I also showcased the items at the beginning, so that you guys can see how much power this build is actually able to dish out, despite the fact that we are missing a lot of upgrades at the moment. So yeah, Bone Cage I think we covered at this point. Yeah, Bone Cage we covered everything. As for the Spellslinger, as you guys see, I am using Detonate That in Spellslinger for mapping. It is really good, really good to clear the mobs that are further away from you, and also for the AoE effect of just, you know, taking care of packs of monsters. Those explosions are hit really hard. We are also slotting in Heft, which has a nice damage multiplier and a nice cost multiplier, making our Infernal Flame fill out all that much faster. And the skill gem that gives you increased boundless energy, I think it's called, that gives you increased energy gain, is really nice as well. There's a quick note here to point out the soul core that I am using in the armor, which is 50% reduced effect of curses on you. We are using this in tandem with another skill on the passive skill tree, which I will showcase. So we have 75% reduced effect of curses on us. And the cool thing about Sacrosanctum, well, quote-unquote cool thing about Sacrosanctum, is it does not give you a lot of energy shield, which, you know, it's not cool, but still, in this case, it's good because you're not worried about using the greater iron runes, the ones that actually increase the energy shield that you get from the Sacrosanctum, because you're not getting that much defenses from it anyway. So you can just slot in the rune that gives you more effectiveness, or reduced effectiveness of curses on you, and, you know, together with the passive skill tree node that also reduces the effectiveness by 25%, it makes it really comfortable because of temporal chains, because of enfeeble, and mostly because of elemental weakness. This build kinda does not care if you get hit with elemental weakness. You will still lose a few percent, I think 7% resistances, but if you overcap your fire resistance by just a bit, then you should be fine. We're also using the Sigil of Power with, you know, just the typical support gems for the bosses and for the rituals, abysses, and stuff like that. We are also using Blasphemy with Temporal Chains, Ritualistic Curse, and Magnified Area, because those two actually stack. Now, if you don't have enough spirit to get the increased effect of curses, the one that I am using, you can simply slot in Slowing Potency, which is a skill gem that doesn't increase the... yeah, please keep in mind the boss that you're watching right now has a really weird hitbox for Bone Cage, but I still managed to take it down, but that is why the damage is so lacking. But yeah, for Blasphemy, you can just use Slowing Potency if you don't have enough Spirit Reservation in order to slot in the Magnified effect of Curses. But if when I'm going to 6-link the Blasphemy, I'm going to add Slowing Potency as well. Now here we are at, charge regulation you definitely want to have at the highest level possible. This is the one that you want to level up as much as possible, because it will give you more defenses, more skill speed, more if you are actually using the power charges. It will give you more critical hit chance, and the Combat Frenzy you can just leave at level 8. For Profaned Ritual, we are just using the 4 support gems that reduce its duration, so that it actually lasts only 0.3 seconds, and then you get those power charges really quickly. Yeah, if you would actually 6-link this, you would just add the skill gem that gives you more power charges and a chance to give a random power charge, basically. And for bosses, for rituals, for Abyssal Pits, we are also using Enfeeble, which is our second curse. Vulnerability, I don't think even works with this build, because we are breaking armor that fast on bosses and everything. I think vulnerability just makes you ignore armor. Please correct me if I'm wrong, if this is actually useful on a build that quickly breaks armor, but I don't think it is. So that is why, as my second curse, I am using Enfeeble. If vulnerability would actually be a damage upgrade after the armor is broken, then I would definitely be using vulnerability here. But yeah, I think Enfeeble is just better for more survivability. Since, you know, your recoup keeps you alive, you just want to make sure that you don't get hit for like a gazillion damage and one-shot by bosses, and that's it. The Tornado is here just as an option to slot into Spellslinger for bossing instead of Detonate Dead. I personally am using simply a second copy of Bone Cage for the increased DPS on bosses, but I was playing around with Tornado a bit as well. However, if you do want to use Tornado instead of a second copy of Bone Cage, you will also have to take out the Spell Cascade, as it does not work with Tornado, and you will want to use Overabundance too, so you can proc, because the Tornadoes are proccing really fast, and you would just probably want to have the option of having 2 of them before you override the first one. But again, for me personally, I prefer using the Bone Cage. The boss that you saw before, the boss showcased, the Bone Tyrant, that one is probably one where Tornado would probably work better than a second copy of Bone Cage, just because of that weird hitbox that it has, because it comes out of a hole, and then, you know, you have to kind of circle the hole constantly and try to catch where the boss is, so that you can actually hit it with those Bone Cage overlaps. But on most bosses, it just works fine. The Bone Cage is just fine in and of itself. Here I am just pointing out certain modifiers that you want to have on your gear that will help you with the recoup. So the helmet has a Desecrated modifier, and the belt has Perfect Essence that you can just use on a belt that already has 3 suffixes. Removing 1 suffix and replacing it with the suffix that gives you fire damage recouped. Just, yeah, you kind of have to roll the dice and hope that you don't lose one of the suffixes that you actually need and want. But yeah, I think we can do the skill tree now, the passive skills. So here we have first the Ascendancy, so we are just going full Demonform with Pyromantic Pact. That is basically, I'm currently at the 3rd Ascendancy, that is all I have. When I do the 4th Ascendancy, I will probably take the node that gives you some damage reduction. You know which one I mean. I'm currently not covering it, so I don't know what it's called. But the one that converts some of the elemental damage into fire damage and some of physical damage into chaos damage. A lot of the focus of this build is on the energy shield nodes, on the big energy shield nodes. Once I get a bit more points, a few more points, or once I get a from nothing diamond, I will also be able to travel to, you know, the cluster that I was pointing out before, that has hollowed and big energy shield node that also prevents 5% of damage taken to energy shield and passes it on to the life. Hallowed is also better than the stun and elemental ailment threshold that I'm using at the moment, so it's better than the wheel, because it does give you a little bit of increased mana, the 3% increased mana. For me personally, right now it's only 25% increase. 25 Infernal Flame that I gain from that node, so it's not that bad. We're also taking Inner Faith, which I pointed out before because of the cursed, because this is a cursed meta. Those 3 points give you 44% increased energy shield, which is kind of like taking 3 smaller nodes of energy shield anywhere on the tree, but you get the nice boost of also decreasing the effect of curses on you. And since we are already pathing to that part of the tree for the pliable flesh, it's a really nice node to grab. So I was using it in 0.3 already, but yeah. We also need a lot of cast speed, which is why we are taking Overzealous and Sudden Escalation. Sudden Escalation also for the crit chance, but Overzealous is also really nice because of the increased mana cost of skills. As I said before, we are trying to increase the mana cost of skills as much as possible so that we proc Infernal Flame as often as possible, which gives us a lot of survivability. We also have a lot of recoup on this build. Now, the one soul core that you can use with recoup effects, you will probably want to use on your shoes to increase the speed of recoup effects. And then also you will want to add the modifier that increases the effect of socketed items. Unfortunately, we cannot use more of them. We cannot use it in the helmet slot to get 8% more recoup. I would definitely focus on putting it into your shoes. So yeah, these are all the recoup nodes that we are grabbing. For me personally, when I drink the flask, I am at about 120% at the moment. We are also coming down here to grab the Chakra of Faith with some life recoup. Now, the cool thing about Chakra of Faith is we can kind of ignore getting Hail Heart on this build. Later on, when I increase the level and damage of my Bone Cage and my Detonate Dead, I'm definitely dropping Barbaric Strength as an allocation on my amulet, which I'm currently using for a bit more damage and for the mana cost of skill. And I am going to allocate Hail Heart just to get more of that survivability and uptime of Demonform. And because it also translates into your energy shield recovery. So basically getting more life recovery is the same as getting more energy shield recovery, if that makes sense. But yeah, you will also want to grab Soul Bloom when it's possible. In order to get Soul Bloom, we will have to wait to get a Controlled Metamorphosis Diamond, which we will slot here in this jewel slot. A Controlled Metamorphosis with as little lowered resistances, obviously, as possible. A medium small or a medium one will get you to Soul Bloom. And not only that, both of them will also get you to Sudden Escalation and to Royal, which is the increased area of effect for a little bit of a damage reduction, but it's fine for the 25%. And I think if you get a medium small one, and yeah, area of effect affects a lot of our skills like Blasphemy, like Detonate Dead, like Bone Cage. And if you will get a medium small one and have a wand like I do, which actually inflicts elemental ailments, you will also be able to reach Stormbreaker, which is another really strong damage boost for bosses and for, you know, for certain rares that maybe take a bit longer to kill. So definitely you want to place a Controlled Metamorphosis Diamond there once you get it with medium to small radius. It's just an insanely good strong diamond. And second upgrade is definitely From Nothing with Resonance Keystone, which allows you to take the 2 critical hit nodes for free basically, while also getting some cookies like the Spell Haste, which is 8% spell speed, Stylebender, without having to travel to it. And then for the really late game, you can also grab Spaghettification for a bit more movement speed and all those lovely attributes. Those attributes then help you with, you know, getting as much health as you want to have. But I don't think like grabbing Spaghettification on this build is really that necessary. Yeah, so we are using double curses, so you want the keystone that allows the double curses on your build. And then we are obviously focusing on a lot of crit nodes. Controlling magic is also a little bit survivability, a lot of crit hit chance and critical damage bonus. And since we are using Stealth Slinger, Evocational Practitioner is really useful. Once it procs, it gives us even more critical hit chance, even more damage, even more gained energy for the meta skills. It's just, yeah, once you crit, obviously you get even more gain energy. And I did forget to mention Storm Driven before when I was talking about Recoup, which just gives you a nice little energy recoup. This is what the second weapon set looks like. Just highlighting it for you guys so that you can see which curse nodes I am taking, mostly just focusing on curse magnitude and somewhat on the duration as well. And then obviously a really important part of the build is getting that Nightly Tenants instead of Chaos Inoculation via a Timeless Jewel with Olroth. So yeah, that will just make it so that your Infernal Flame will stay as low as possible, so that you can proc it as often as possible, so that you can, you know, keep your Demonform going for as long as you can. Is there anything else we forgot to mention here? I don't think so. This is basically it. So the most important parts of this build are definitely Sacrosanctum and the Timeless Jewel. Those are the two things you want to get. Those are basically the two things that make the build work, and then you can work from there. This is my Atlas skill tree. Those points, the upper points that I'm pointing out right now, on the second showcase, I still did not have those points because that is the boss that dropped 2 books for me. So the first showcase that you saw, I already had all the points that you see here. Second showcase, which is about to come up, I still did not have the boss nodes that I was pointing up at the top. But yeah, this is basically it for the babbling from me. Hope this was coherent enough. Hope I did a good job. Hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, like, subscribe. If you have any questions, anything, let me know. I will answer that. And if you guys would also like to check out the max roll guide, it will be in the description. It will be in the comment, in the pinned comment. So in case all of this was a bit too much info and you just want to take your own time to look at all of it, you can just click the max roll link, and that way you will have all the info that you want. Okay, I'm just gonna let the sound from the showcase play now. Thank you very much for watching the video, those of you who made it through. Hope you enjoy, and yeah, we'll see you for the next one. Bye bye.